Hello everybody, and welcome to an MTG Arena analysis video. Today I'm going to be talking about the top 3 underdrafted cards on MTG Arena by the bots, and how you should adjust your drafting style based on this information. Before I dive in though, I do want to remind you that if you enjoy this video, be sure to hit that thumbs up button. It helps me out more than you know, and it is a great way to let me know that you enjoy this analysis style of video. Be sure to subscribe to the channel to get updates whenever I post future content, and to join the community we have here on YouTube. It's a great way to show your support as well, and leave a comment if you have any questions at all about the comments I make. If you have any suggestions for future topics, I'd love to hear them in the comments section down below. And if you would like to further support the channel, be sure to check out patreon.com/NicolaiBolas, get access to exclusive rewards, and support the channel directly. Without further ado, let's get on to the top 3 underdrafted cards on MTG Arena by the bots, starting with an honorable mention. The honorable mention, of course, is going to be, well, maybe not of course, but it is going to be Gift of Paradise. Gift of Paradise is 2 and a green for an enchantment aura at common that says Enchant Land. When Gift of Paradise enters the battlefield, you gain 3 life, and then Enchanted Land has tap, add 2 mana of any one color to your mana pool. Gift of Paradise is the type of card that when your deck wants it, you tend to really want it. A lot of the time, it is the linchpin for splashing, for ramping up to 7 mana if you have a couple 7-drops in your deck, and overall is just a very powerful card in the right deck. That being said, the bots do not really prioritize Gift of Paradise very highly. You can regularly wheel them if they are the first through third card in the pack. So if in pack 3 you really want a Gift of Paradise for your deck and you open Gift of Paradise plus a sweet 5-drop, you don't really need to prioritize the Gift of Paradise. It's probably going to come back. Now, I put this as an honorable mention because it doesn't go at the very end of a pack, and also not every deck is going to want a Gift of Paradise, so it's not always relevant. But keep in mind that you can get Gift of Paradise 8th, 7th, 8th, 9th, and even 10th and stuff like that. So you don't need to prioritize Gift of Paradise all that highly. The bots certainly won't, and you can take advantage of this by taking a better card for your deck, maybe a good sideboard card in that position. So keep that in mind. Gift of Paradise, not a card you're going to have to prioritize super highly if you want it. Coming in at number 3, this card is maybe pretty obvious if you have been playing on MTG Arena a bit. I know I've certainly faced off against the decks that seem to have unlimited Faerie Miscreants. They play one on turn 1, another one on turn 2, and it just seems to go from there. Faerie Miscreant, of course, being a single blue for a Fairy Rogue creature. It is a common and has flying, is a 1/1, and when Faerie Miscreant enters the battlefield, if you control another creature named Faerie Miscreant, draw a card. I think Faerie Miscreant starts to become playable when you have 4 of them. That's a good number to reliably be able to trigger it during the course of a game, and it is the type of card that is really kind of irritating for your opponent if you start drawing cards with it, because then you're just putting out bodies and not really having to spend a card to do so. The thing with Faerie Miscreant on MTG Arena is you can get them incredibly late because the bots just do not take them. You can get them with 4 cards left in the pack, 5 cards left in the pack. I'm not sure if I would risk going for a wheel on a Faerie Miscreant if you really needed it, and going for it with 4 cards left in the pack, but with 5 cards I would almost certainly risk it. So which means pick 4, you can not have to take it, and then pick 3 in pack, whatever pack, you'll not really have to take Faerie Miscreant. The thing is if you know that the bots aren't going to take Faerie Miscreants, you can really set up some good plays. So during the drafting portion, notice when you see a Faerie Miscreant, even when you aren't going to take it. So if in the opening pack that you have on your first pack, you see a Faerie Miscreant, and you're choosing between a blue card and a green card, the blue card could win a tiebreak situation just because you know that you're going to wheel a Faerie Miscreant. And if, say you're pick 4 in the draft, and you are just choosing your colors, saying you're choosing between blue and red as your colors, and you've seen a Faerie Miscreant in pack 1, and you've seen a Faerie Miscreant in pack 3, and pick 4, you see another Faerie Miscreant, you could potentially just know that the other 2, or even a little bit later, say pick 7, you see another Faerie Miscreant, you know that the other 2 you've seen are going to wheel. So you've had this in the back of your mind, and you can take the Faerie Miscreant 7th pick, know you're going to get the other 2, and then you can potentially be on your way to another deck. One card in particular that goes up quite a bit in value when you do have Faerie Miscreant is Winged Words. Winged Words is already a fantastic blue common in this set just because it gives you a lot of value, and it is a very good 1-2 punch with Faerie Miscreant. So if you think you're going to be potentially wheeling Faerie Miscreants, a card to keep in mind is Winged Words, because the 1-2 punch of Faerie Miscreant into Winged Words, draw 2 cards, is very potent and a great way to start off a game of limited. Very powerful synergy, and Faerie Miscreant is definitely a card to be aware of in your M20 limited games, and you can even potentially pick up sideboard cards like Heartpiercer Bow a little bit higher because of Faerie Miscreant. Coming in at the number 2 slot on the underdrafted commons, we have Goblin Smuggler. Goblin Smuggler is 2 and a red for a Goblin Rogue creature at common with haste. Tap, another target creature with power 2 or less can't be blocked this turn, and it is a 2/2. Goblin Smuggler is a key card for a lot of the red aggressive strategies. Giving your creatures unblockable is just incredibly potent in this format, and it has some combos that I will mention in a moment. But basically, Goblin Smuggler is a card that you're going to want to run multiple copies of in almost all of your red decks, because red just tends to be an aggressive color in this format, and you're going to want multiple copies of Goblin Smuggler, but you can get them super late. I've seen multiple Goblin Smugglers going around with 3 cards left in the pack, so if you see Goblin Smugglers, you don't really need to prioritize them. You're probably going to get them back on the wheel. One way that this can impact your draft is if you see, again, it's a tiebreaker situation. If you see a Goblin Smuggler early, you know it's going to wheel, so you basically, whenever you take a red card from that point on, you take that red card knowing you're going to get a Goblin Smuggler later. 2 cards that combo particularly well with Goblin Smuggler are Lavakin Brawler. Lavakin Brawler is 3 and a red for a 2/4 Elemental Warrior. When Lavakin Brawler attacks, it gets +1/+0 until end of turn for each elemental you control. And the way it works is you can give it unblockable with Goblin Smuggler, and then when you attack with Lavakin Brawler, it still keeps the unblockable a bit, which means that it's attacking for at least 3 damage, and oftentimes 4, 5, or even 6 damage. I've attacked with Lavakin Brawler for 7 damage before, and had it be very potent, especially when combined with like a Uncaged Fury to give it double strike. I hit my opponent for 15 unblockable damage that way and just ended the game. It was very spectacular. Another card at common in red that combos with Goblin Smuggler is Pack Mastiff. Pack Mastiff is 1 and a red for a Hound at common. It is a 2/2 and it has 1 and a red. Each creature you control named Pack Mastiff gets +1/+0 until end of turn. So if you are in the middle to late stages of the game, say you have 6 lands in play and your opponent's at a low life total, you can activate Goblin Smuggler, give Pack Mastiff unblockable, pump it 3 times, make it a 5-powered creature, and then attack your opponent for 5-powered unblockable. Those are just a couple combos to be aware of with Goblin Smuggler, part of the reason why it is so good in the format, and part of the reason why the fact that you can get them 3rd to last pick is so mind-boggling and so powerful for you if you know this information. The number 1 card that is underdrafted in this set, you may not know it, maybe you've seen it and you think it's bad because you're getting it so incredibly late, but it is Season of Growth. Season of Growth is a card that is incredibly underdrafted. I've gotten it last pick regularly with Season of Growth and land in the pack, and I think it's much better than you may think. Season of Growth, of course, is 1 and a green for an enchantment at uncommon that says whenever a creature enters the battlefield under your control, scry 1. Whenever you cast a spell that targets a creature you control, draw a card. Now, this cast a spell that targets a creature you control, draw a card part is relevant, and a lot of the time it'll come up when you're casting a pump spell or certain removal spells in the set, or you're casting an aura on your creature. Those are the 3 main scenarios. Keep in mind that this doesn't work when you target your creature. So if you want to like be comboing it with Goblin Smuggler, like every time you tap, draw a card, that's not going to be how it works. It has to be a card that you cast from your hand. But Season of Growth is incredibly potent. Even the scry ability by itself is very good, especially for getting you virtual card advantage in the late game, because every land you scry away in the late game when you can't use it is almost like drawing a card, because you're not going to have to draw a dead land the next turn. So if you're casting your 6th drop with your 6th land and then you scry a land to the bottom, it's almost like that 6th drop drew you a card. I would play Season of Growth in my deck with as few as 2 ways to trigger it, as long as I had, say, 15 creatures, just because it's very potent, especially if you can get it down early. It can just make sure you have a very smooth game, you don't get too flooded. 2 cards to keep in mind that combo with it are, first of all, Rabid Bite. Rabid Bite is the best green common, and it's a card that works incredibly well with Season of Growth because it does target your creature as a removal spell. So you target your creature, it deals it damage to target other creature equal to its power, and that will also draw you a card with Season of Growth. So it'll turn your common removal spell into a 2-for-1, which is incredibly powerful. So Rabid Bite and Season of Growth go together super well, and since you can get Season Growth incredibly late, you can reliably pick one up, which means that cards like Rabid Bite should go up a little bit in your pick order, because you're going to probably have a Season of Growth to combine with your Rabid Bite. Another card that combines pretty well with Season of Growth is Feral Invocation. Feral Invocation is 2 and a green for an enchantment aura with flash at common that says enchant creature, enchanted creature gets +2/+2. You're usually going to be using Feral Invocation as a combat trick or as a way to blank your opponent's removal spell. So if they go for a burn spell on your creature, you can Feral Invocation in response, or if you get into a combat and say your 3/3 is fighting your opponent's 3/3, you Feral Invocation, kill their creature, are left with a 5/5. And if you have Season of Growth in play, it draws you a card. Because Season of Growth is such a powerful card that you can get late in a draft, I do bump up Feral Invocation slightly. Like, it's the type of card that I don't pick early, but I keep it in mind and hope that it wheels a lot of the time in my draft, because and it's definitely the type of card that you will run in your deck thanks to having a Season of Growth, even if you normally might not. Season of Growth, I think, is good if you have 2 different ways to target your own creatures, and you can usually pick those up fairly easily with things like Rabid Bite and Feral Invocation, and that's just in green. There are other pump spells, other auras that you can run in the set. But yeah, that is going to do it for this video. I really do hope you enjoyed it. Let me know if you think there are any cards that are underdrafted by the Arena bots that I didn't get to. Remember to hit that thumbs up button to support the channel and the video. Leave a comment in the comment section down below. Leave a hashtag bottom3. That is a pun, of course, bot because of the Arena bots, and bottom 3 because the 3 cards they underdraft the most. But yeah, bottom 3, hashtag bottom3 in the comments section down below if you would so choose. Subscribe to the channel to get updates whenever I post future content, and be sure to check out the Patreon if you would like to support the channel even further. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed it, and I will talk to you next time.